Welcome to KabU Q&A. Hi, Christy, with senior teacher Tony Kosinec. Great to see you, Christy and Padrini. On behalf of the entire KabU team, we're so happy to be together. So welcome and thank you so much for joining today. A couple of housekeeping points just to help the Q&A to run more smoothly. Whatever platform you're viewing in, Facebook, YouTube, here in Zoom, if you could limit the chat to questions only, more or less, it helps our expert tech team to collect the questions, and that way we don't want to miss any of them. Also, if you're here in Zoom and you can't stay for the second hour, remember there's an exclusive Q&A right here in Zoom 1 hour from now. Just please put in the chat next to your question here for only the first hour. That way we make sure that we ask your questions here in the first half of the broadcast. Also, like Christy and Padrini and Melody and Tony, please, if you're able to turn your cameras on, it helps to create a warmer environment and it helps Tony to feel your questions better. So please do that if you can. And as we progress in the broadcast, if you can just quick type in your location on the various platforms, then I'll read the list in a little while. So again, welcome, Tony. Always wonderful to see you, be with you. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mary. Hi, friends. Hi, friends in Zoom. Hi, friends online, YouTube and Facebook. If you're a student and you're in KabU and you're asking questions and you won't be able to be in the private session that happens after this one, please put a note in your question and we'll give it priority. We'll pick that up first and try to answer that. If you can be in the private session afterwards, come in, because we deal with things a little differently there than we do in the public broadcast, and we're able to spend time and go into detail on your question, and we're able to communicate back and forth, which really clarifies things. Usually, the people who are watching on the social media streams, their basic question is, what is Kabbalah? What's it for? What does it give us? All we have to do is look at the kind of change that the world is undergoing right now. You can feel it. It's been nothing but crises after crises, multiples of them, but they're becoming sharper and sharper in their focus. They feel closer and closer to us. They're not distant. They don't seem abstract. We are involved in all of the things that we are seeing that we consider bad and dangerous, not only to us, but something that's happening between Ukraine and Russia. We feel it. We feel it very, very personally. Some illness or disaster didn't just strike one part of the world. We had and have a virus that's touching all of humanity, touching us as a whole. It's as close to us and as far away as distance and closeness can be. It's intimate. Kabbalah is a way of living successfully and with joy in that complete integrated reality that's now just becoming apparent to us. I'm apparent in the sense of not that we see it, but that we're feeling it as a reality. We just don't know how it is that we can live in it, and we don't understand the waves and the streams of things that are occurring. Where are they coming from? Why are they happening? What is directing it, and what are we being directed towards? We look at the human network as though it were something not connected to nature, that it didn't follow the laws of nature. And even what we think of as the laws of nature are not the laws of nature. They're things that we observe as outcomes of the force and the interaction of the opposite sides of that force that actually manages everything. We're seeing the results. Our science does not really grasp the causal. This is what Kabbalah is about. It teaches the real laws of nature, where they exist, what they're really about. And once we have a grasp of that, we can begin to see how the human network and all of the experiences that we undergo, and especially our reaction to them, the emotions behind them, we understand then the reality we're actually living in, and we're not bound anymore by just the outcome level. Kabbalah gives us an insight into the rules of the game, how to play it and how to really enjoy it, how to become part of the laws of nature and to direct experience in a positive way. And before I begin to answer questions, I want to share a little clip here that will maybe raise us a little bit, give us some sense of all that. I'm just going to set up my screen to share here. Yeah.
When you look at the beauty of nature, when you observe this majestic harmony that permeates every atom in existence, when you really take it in, you can almost see the greater governing force that animates all of nature. Life into infinite particles, creating the most diverse beauty, the most sublime intelligence that is all of life. And it's essentially a program designed to give life, to create, sustain, and guide the evolution of life. So when we see things in nature that seem cruel or violent, it's all part of the program. It's part of the harmonious symphony of life. Because nature is this incredible interplay between opposite forces. It's the inconceivable union of heat and cold, light and darkness, ebb and flow, male and female, all dancing together to create life. Of nature follow this program of interdependence. It's embedded in their DNA, coded into their instincts. Every rock, every plant, every animal embodies the program. So what about us humans? Are we not part of nature's all-pervasive program of life? Are we some kind of cosmic anomaly? Why do we humans evolve to feel independent and separate from each other and the rest of nature? Is it possible that our sense of separation is by design? Is it possible that Mother Nature, as if pushed us humans out of her womb to give us a sense of independence, so we can choose to participate in nature's program? Because then we would gain a conscious experience of the wholeness and perfection and bliss that surround us. struggles, our conflicts, division, wars, they're just a phase of our evolution. Until we can consciously integrate with nature's program, until we can hear the symphony of life around us and join the dance. So if Mother Nature knows what she's doing, then our conscious connection to each other and to all of nature is our inevitable future.
A little perspective. Now let's see if we can fill in some detail. Mary?
Okay, thanks, Tony. We have so many questions coming in from YouTube, by the way. The first one is from Crystal James. Can Tony get everyone to stop for a few minutes and try to connect worldwide and to have a prayer for Ukraine and Russia?
We'll do that. Let's go on to the next question. We'll do it. Let's build something first. Let's build a connection.
Okay, and thank you for that question, Crystal. The next question is from Carlos Guerrero. Can one be self-taught?
In Kabbalah, one cannot be self-taught because we don't know what self is. And life itself is a school, and everything that we get in terms of guidance on the laws of nature has to be handed down. It has to be received. And the question of self is the basic illusion that prevents our perception of what is actually so, how things really work, because we're not individuals. Our self is the entire integral system. It's our connection to others and all of the others together in that system, and that system embedded in the integral quality of nature. That's self. And the more that we connect to that, the more that wisdom is transmitted through the whole, through all of those channels to us, because our heart is turned to the right thing. It's open. If we are focusing on or thinking of ourselves as self, the channels are closed. What nature is trying to teach us is to open that up through expanded connection, meaning care and identification with the well-being of others and of the system and so on. And it's something that has to be taught, because we're created in the complete opposite intention to that intention being a force. We're in an opposite form to that force that is the teacher, that is enlightening, that is light. And we have to willingly do exactly what our deepest nature doesn't want us to do, and that is to function outside of the self, above the self, and by connecting to other people. We at our core, we don't want that. More than anything, we don't want that. But we're created that way, like that video said, so that we can choose to consciously do exactly what the law of nature is doing, not to just be robotically directed as the unconscious parts of nature. All of nature keeps this law, because we look at nature and we see species. We see like a worldwide community of that particular life form. We're like that. We're exactly like that. It keeps the law without choice. We can only keep that law consciously because we are the most evolved and the most responsible for every other level of nature. So no, we cannot be self-taught. We have to become like the system, which is everything but the self. Next.
Okay, yes. Padrini has a question to ask you directly. Tony, go ahead, Padrini.
Great.
Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
I can, and I can see you, and it's great to meet you.
Okay, great. Well, hello, everybody. In order not to confuse the new people that is watching this and so on, and please correct me if I'm mistaken, Tony. But it is known that in Kabbalah that the good that does good, it is the only thing that happens. Why is it so difficult? I'm sorry, I'm a bit sensitive. Why is it so difficult to find ease, to be calm, when all of these things are happening here in Europe? And why is that sensation that everything is lost, and no matter what, we are trying to get more involved into Kabbalah and so on, things seems to be just totally, lost. I hope it makes sense.
Because there is something that is being lost. What's being lost is our dependence on our own actions and our own wisdom and the egoistic system by which we've been governing each other, connecting to and governing each other. Now, if we're really, really invested in that, if we identify with that more than anything else, if we get our reality from the media and by watching things on the material level, then we feel that we are losing or dying. The war exists actually in another place where the ego, our egoistic perception is being overturned in favor of a perception, an inclusive perception that is a higher reality that we are evolving to. To the ego, that feels like death and war.
Yeah.
But the only place where where the war is occurring is in us. In our separation, in our attitude towards others, in looking for solutions through separation, through blame, through all of those, basic animal functions that we have for egoistic survival. We are being asked in this whole process that's evolving us to let go of that perception and allow the light to change us and to see where we are actually living our life, because we're not really living our life on the egoistic level. The ego was created, the will to receive was created in order for it to die. In other words, for us to no longer live and try to guide life through those things. So there is a sense of loss, and because we identify with the ego, it feels like
we're losing.
Yes, material death and material loss. When really what it's doing is it's an aid to let us understand what its opposite is, and to move our desire towards it. And if you think about it, take a look at your feelings, you'll see that the longing that's starting to happen in your heart when surrounded by all these things, you begin to long for a connection, for the well-being of others, for a peace in that connection. And once we have a desire like that, we are building an overall intention across the entire globe, across all of human society. And that longing is what brings about a response of the light. That's what it responds to, a true need. So all of the little puppets that are being moved on the material stage are just so that we can actually feel something that is usually not graspable to our consciousness, which is a desire for good for all.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. If it didn't hurt, it wouldn't create the desire.
It's very overwhelming. It's very new.
It is, but we're together.
Yeah.
We're not alone. We're together and we're holding each other. Thank you. Thanks for that question.
Thank you, Padrini. Next question. Thank you, Jonathan. Here in Zoom, Jonathan is asking, in authentic Kabbalah, I have heard reference to the Kabbalists building the soul. Could you please elaborate on this specific meaning?
Yes, our soul is our connection to others. It's what's outside, it's above and outside of egoistic concern. It's not something that just happens. It's something that, as a Kabbalist, one has to work on this connection, and there's specific methodology for building a true connection to others, and by forgetting about the self, like disregarding the personal prayer, so to speak, and working to feel the other as the self. Love your neighbor as yourself. This is a effort, and what that effort does is it builds up a similarity of form in the intention that we share, which is similar to the law of nature itself, because the fundamental law of nature is, to the human heart anyway, to be able to understand it, is love your neighbor as yourself. It is a complete identification and concern with everything that exists, and in which we live our life through all of that. We define that as our life. We define that as our self. The work towards that is the building of the soul. The soul is the similarity of form. Like how much is my intention, or our shared intention, like the intention behind the law of nature itself? That's a process of building. It's a process of expanding. It's like, and we are now in the process of building a kind of new civilizational connection with each other. And that connection is the soul. That is the collective or the singular soul, acknowledging consciously that that's what it is, and in relation to the truth of life, basically. Mary?
Hey, Tony. Anna, watching on YouTube, has a question related to that, creating the soul. What do you do if someone no longer believes in any system or unified universe, but has this persisting idea that no one else is there, that they're all alone?
Well, if you're talking about yourself, I can address it. If you're talking about somebody else, the shortcomings of another person, that's not actually part of reality. Because there isn't such a thing. Our tendency to feel that we're alone is the core of the will to receive. That's how we were created. We feel the unity of life in its inverse. We feel it as though nobody else and nothing else really exists. And that's a very deep conviction in our view of things. It's also the reason for our suffering. It hurts to feel that, even though that might feel like sort of divine and eternal in some kind of sense. It is extremely painful because we're not prepared. That's not how to live as one and unique. The one and uniqueness has to include its opposite. It has to include the multiplicity and the connection of the multiplicity, and making that one, because it's not true in our experience to say there's only me, because we feel there's only me, and man, that is the loneliest thing in reality. It's like a planet in the middle of an empty universe. That's our real feeling about it. We flip back and forth between those things. But the kind of, there is only a person being completely alone like that, that's important. That is the beginning point. It's the starting point for a necessity to learn, how does the unity work? the multiplicity and the unity are one thing, but they're both real. And that Kabbalah teaches us how those things go together, and how only love and connection will allow us to enter that eternal quality. Instead of aloneness, it is completeness, it's wholeness, it's what's called peace. And shalem means wholeness. Shalom means peace. It's the entry into the one and unique state that is bliss, that is perfection, and that's eternal, without that kind of separation in the heart. It's a long answer, but it's an important question.
Okay, continuing along those same lines, another question about the soul, Tony, from Ricky Ridgway, watching on YouTube. Even if I'm not yet able to sense the shared soul, will believing in it help me to harmonize with it?
Yeah, having a correct target helps us direct our desire, and so that we have a need for the right thing. That's how nature evolves everything. It creates a desire or a need, and that's what causes all motion and development. Now, having a proper set target is very important, and that's one of the major benefits of studying Kabbalah, because the sages lay out the structure of that spiritual reality in a way, you could say, as sort of targets. It's not something anybody could ever intuit on their own. You can get a general sense of the direction, and everybody has it, because everybody has this question about the meaning of life. That meaning of life comes from the basic picture that we have from the spiritual world that exists in us as what the Kabbalists call a point in the heart. It's a part of the spiritual reality that exists either awake or dormant in every shattered part of the single soul, or the single being, or life as a whole. Life as wholeness. But when you study, you get very specific instruction about how to aim ourselves towards that oneness, because it's too big. It's like nobody can make that correction all at once. It's the reason we were originally shattered into a perception of separate pieces, because only with that small amount of correction required for each broken piece is it possible to put the unity back together in your perception and in our shared perception. So reading authentic texts, receiving the sort of instruction and targets and even diagrams at the beginning of basically how our inner life works, how consciousness is created, and how to rise to an unshattered awareness, very important. And it creates, even though we don't feel it and understand it, we really begin to want it, and it guides us. And it's the same in any skill, craft, science. It all works that way. And the more we're surrounded by other people who want the same thing, whether it's sports or science or art or whatever it is, it's an inspiration, and it's more than that. It is actually the whole field that we need in order to achieve that thing. Mary?
Okay, Tony, when you say everything but the self, are you referring to the egoistic separate self, or the self with a capital S? That's a question from Doug West, watching on Facebook.
The egoistic self. Well, but we can't, at the beginning, we can't make the distinction. We don't see that there's egoistic and something else. We don't even know that we're egoistic, at least egoistic in a spiritual sense. Everybody has to have ego. That's part of the animal part of us. It's necessary. It's necessary spiritually too. But yes, it's that self. It's our mistakenly calling our egoistic quality ourself. That's what it means.
Okay, sorry for the delay. If you have
that delay was so long, I couldn't stand it. It was like 2 years.
It felt like 2 years to me. If you have a question to put in the chat, please address it to everyone. There is a personal question I'll respond to, but it helps our team to collect the questions. I can't always pay attention to the chat. And if you're not sure about how to ask a live question here in Zoom, our tech team did include directions how to do that. So please feel free to ask live questions. Next question comes from Sean Elvey. Right here in Zoom. If something good or pleasurable occurs in my life and I immediately give thanks to the Creator and think of Him, is this receiving to bestow?
No, it's being thankful. But it is acknowledging the source from which the pleasure came. It's a very important thing to understand that to make real for us the fact that everything that occurs only comes from one source. Good things don't just come from the Creator and bad things from some other place. Everything comes from the same source and is meant as a kind of balancing and thrust and aiming mechanism for our development. And we need to build an appreciation, even in thankfulness, for the bad, for what we consider bad, which is really developmental impetus, and the good. Receiving in order to bestow is further down the line. It's when we don't take the pleasure in that we receive in, but we share that pleasure, the joy in that pleasure, with the one who's giving. So it never really, we have a screen that doesn't take the pleasure there, but it takes the pleasure in being able to receive it because we know for certain that it's the Creator's desire to develop us through pleasure as well. And then the definition of pleasure, as I said, has to be quite expanded. It's something we learn. It takes a long time to learn. It takes a long time to even notice the edges of this thing. And that is precisely what we're learning to do.
So following that, Javier Casas, pardon me, watching on YouTube is wondering, what is giving to others?
Well, giving to others is wanting their fulfillment. It's not the action. It is the intention that what you do, what you think, your function, your mind and your heart are aimed at wanting to see others fulfilled. So, and in the case of spirituality, it would be something like you're standing, imagine this, imagine being able to do this. You're standing at, and this is just like mythology. Kabbalah doesn't say that there are such things, but this is just to illustrate. You're standing in front of the gates of heaven. The gates swing open, and you're standing there with your friend, and only one can go through. You want your friend to go through, and the gates close, and you remain outside. This is this kind of that's giving. That is, despite the action, whether it's good, whether it's bad, the direction of desire goes for the fulfillment of the other. Now, in an integral system, everybody's doing that. Everybody's doing that. And that means that everybody receives whatever is needed according to the need, because everybody is passing this to everybody else. That actually needs to be the basis of our new economic system. It has to be based on an intention. because money and economy and all that stuff is nothing but the sort of materialization of trust. Will you fulfill your part of the bargain? Will you do the work? Will you show up? Will the goods be delivered? Why? Because somebody gave us paper? No, it shows up because the intention is to deliver what's needed without the paper. The paper is not necessary. The metal, the gold is not necessary. What is necessary is this mutual responsibility in which everybody gets taken care of, but without thinking about the self. It's all outward. And of course, when the intention goes that way, actually the one with that intention is fulfilled first, because now they have the power of the upper force instead of the limited power of the ego. So the fulfillment is complete all around, and any other way of approaching it can't work. Even when you have the outward, I know I'm getting off on a tangerine here, but even if you have a setup like that, politically, like in communism or in socialism, it still doesn't work because the intention is missing. Even though we say externally, we're going to arrange it this way, everything belongs to everybody. No, it doesn't. It only belongs to everybody if we develop this intention to fulfill the other and realize that that's the way that nature works, and therefore everything will be fulfilled. Anyway, so much for that.
Okay, Tony, earlier you mentioned instruction toward oneness. Now you were talking about intention. Julie DeHaan, watching on YouTube, is wondering about the emotions. Do emotions only exist in the corporeal realm? And what importance or not are they to our evolution?
Emotions are the weather surrounding desire. They're like the clouds and the sun and all that. Depending on whether or not we feel desires as becoming fulfilled as close, or whether they're being fulfilled, or whether they seem distant. They're part and parcel of the force that we call desire. And we generally tend to think that our emotions direct our desire, or that our desire directs our emotions, one or the other. But neither of those things have any ability to steer anything. Only intention has the ability, which exists over desire and emotion. Because our emotion has to do with an operating system that develops around a desire that is designed to get us to be able to fulfill that desire. And the emotions are telling us whether we're getting closer or farther away from it. There's a level of, and that is a level of reason that is an egoistically based reason, to fulfill the self. That turns desire into a self-focused thing, emotions, getting it, not getting it. But intention is something that is above reason. It's above egoistic reason. And it directs the entire system of desire towards the fulfillment, again, of others. The whole process of life and the pleasure of life and what we even call life is really the summary and the changing of emotion flowing over desire. I don't know if I can go in any more detail, because without you're having more experience in that thing, they all seem kind of one thing, but they're not really. And we learn to be able to perceive them as separate and to be able to work with them in the methodology of Kabbalah.
Hey, Tony, Crystal James is asking, did the Creator create us because he suffered the loneliness that we experience ourselves?
No, this is the way that the ego can grasp such ideas as eternity, and it brings about the illusion of aloneness. There is no lack at all in the upper force. There is just everything is in perfection and in wholeness and completely connected, but that level of wholeness is concealed from us because of our identification, the degree of our identification with the will to receive. It blinds us to our actual condition, which is unlimited and in similarity of form with that upper force. So we're dealing here with an illusion coming from a concealment. And that part that is concealed from us, we don't even take into account. And we try to make a model of reality out of what we can see. And it's inadequate to tell us what's real or how it feels for things to be whole. The work in our development is a process of revelation, that is to remove more and more and more and more and more of the concealment until we finally feel things in their wholeness.
Okay, next question is from Christy here in Zoom. Going back to what you were mentioning about intention, how do we change our intention? Do I truly just ask?
Yes. There's two things involved with it. First, we have to be trying to do it. And in the science of Kabbalah, what a person eventually learns is the practical part of it, not just the fundamentals and the principles of it, which is what people are learning in Kabbalah Revealed 1 and 2, which are the first 2 semesters that that are available in KabU. But when you move on to the practical work, you're working with other people to establish connections according to the law, the underlying law of nature. When you're doing that, then you know what to ask for. See, we can ask, but we're asking such a general question that it's not a real request. The only way that we have a real request that aims us at the real place where nature is trying to take us is by discovering that we can't do the thing that nature is asking with what we have and alone. We don't have that kind of a force in us, because it is a force of connection, and the force of connection has to be found between people and not in any one part. Then trying to do that work, when we discover, and it's in a fixed sort of working condition with fixed number of other people who share exactly the same goal, which is something that you will learn in practical Kabbalah, then you have right before you know exactly what to ask for. It's like, I love the Creator. I know I'm connected to the Creator. Well, no, because you can imagine all that. But the connection to the Creator is the connection to other people. And when one realizes that they don't love their friend, then you have before you exactly what your relationship to the upper force or to the Creator really is. Not only that, you feel that it's what you want more than anything, and now you know what to ask for, even if it's even a small thing. I want to be able to connect to this friend that I don't like. You know, I want to connect over the egoistic level, and I can't do that. And now you're the one who created this situation. Give me the force to do it. Yes, you're asking. It doesn't happen by our own force. It only happens by asking and by prayer. That is prayer about the right thing, because the Creator is like a parent with a gift behind his back, and unless you're asking for what he has behind his back, he can't answer your prayer. So you have to learn to want what he has in his hand. That's the way that it works. And what he has in his hand is our connection and love with others, our love and connection with others.
Hey, Christy, thank you. That was a great question. Wendy, you're up next. I just want to read some of the locations where friends are connecting from to connect today. We have Colorado, Turkey, Utah, Arizona, Hungary, Ethiopia, the Netherlands, Sydney, Australia, Dublin, New York City, the UK, Michigan, New Zealand, Austin, Texas, Florida, Mexico, Massachusetts, Italy, Bulgaria, Winnipeg, Puerto Rico, Washington, D.C., California, Los Angeles, California, Brazil, Mesa, Arizona, Ghana, Minneapolis, and Texas. Thank you, everyone, for posting those. Great to see you, Wendy. We'd love to hear your question next.
Okay, unmuted. Okay. Well, when I was a child, I asked in a prayer to do something to stop the next Holocaust. And in the early 80s, this flood of opportunity started opening up to me. And one of the first was to hire a woman from Ukraine, a chemist in our business. And now this all seems to be coming to a head now. Is this an egoistic perception, or is there something that I can be doing more to fulfill my wish as a child?
Is what an egoistic perception?
That I have something to do with ending the next Holocaust.
Well, you certainly have a responsibility. A Holocaust, it depends on what we're speaking about here. If we're talking specifically about what happens to Kabbalists when they don't fulfill their role.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, that's up to Kabbalists. It's up to us to value the right thing, and we are. The balance is tipped, but we're still responsible. We have to fulfill our role. We have to teach. We have to learn about the real basis of reality, and make it available to absolutely everybody, and not turn it into a religion, but to turn it into a living relationship that is for everybody in the world. This we have to do, and I think that's already begun. Whether it's enough, I don't know. But if the other meaning of Holocaust is that humanity as a whole is going to suffer, is going to make this transition through pain rather than through a conscious change, then again, that's also our responsibility, because people need to know how to do it. But also we need to know how to ask for others. It's already too late when we've got to start saving people in dire situations through material means. Our real capability and also our responsibility is in the realm of intention, care, which is prayer for the world as a whole. We shouldn't fool ourselves as that we have any other job but sincere concern. If something physical, go ahead.
Well, so the thought occurred to me, came into my head, and I went to the Russian presidency Twitter account, and I said, the former Soviet republics are your children, and why are you treating your children this way? They've brought so many wonderful things, connecting the old Soviet Union to the Western world. Why can't you be patient?
It can't be solved on that level. When it's on a political level and on a material level, it's already in the incorrect form. It has to be solved on the level above it, in the level of intention. And that's our job, to help everybody who's not there, because they are our children. Those who are suffering and are blinded completely by the material, by the egoistic material of this world, require our help. And we need to be clear that the one place where the force exists is on the intentional level. not on the physical level. And we can't reason somebody else out of an already egoistically invested perception. We
Well,
can
there's-
change, we can change everything from the level of intention and prayer, and nothing from that level of outcomes.
Well, in that vein, seems pretty clear that the decisions being made now are on the level of intention to restore some sort of sense of lost dignity of the old Soviet empire.
That's not intention. That's all egoistic. It has nothing to do with intention. Intention is completely above the political level, completely above all of that.
Well, our intention is for unity, for peace, for
Mhm.
for world friendship, and to prepare the way for the Messiah.
That is the Messiah. We are the Messiah. That intentional level is the Messiah. There is no Messiah. There is only the connection between people through an intention like that.
Of course, of course.
So, yeah, I mean, the concern, the pain that it causes in your heart and the worry, that's valuable. But let's use those things that we feel and aim them at the right place, because from there we can do everything and anything, and on the other level we can't do anything.
What is the right place? Because it brings tears to my eyes to think about those children in bomb shelters. It really upsets me.
At the end of when we get in a few more minutes, in about 5 minutes, we'll try to go to that place together.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Wendy. Next up, Iggy. Always wonderful to see you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Tony.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Do opportunities for corrections or tikkuns come in cycles?
No, they come constantly.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Whether the cycle is only our ability to recognize. Now I'm paying attention, and now I'm not.
Okay. Because recently I had this. It was just an impression that I had an opportunity for a correction recently, and it was something similar that happened in the past, and now this time I feel like I didn't achieve. I didn't correct it. I failed in my correction. And however, this time around, it didn't feel like the failing of the correction just affected me. This time it was kind of heavy, and I'm even trying to not get emotional, but it felt like it affected the whole, if you will. And so just put the light that that there was some light that kind of came through, and it's helping me. That is the feeling of connection, that even if I failed or didn't correct it, just the fact that I felt that connection, that something that I did or didn't do or failed or has an effect, a ripple effect, and it really was really strong in me. So I just kind of wanted to share that, and I was just not sure how to explain it, but thank you.
I got you. I understand what you said. I feel what you said. This was in your physical life, not in the study. Okay.
Yes,
well,
this was in my physical life. Correct.
That's a preparatory thing. That is something to get you into the right area. It's something that's building a correct desire in you to understand the interconnectedness that you have. So, and that sense of responsibility will help move you into a different level, a different realm, which you'll be able to work out when you start working with other people. What semester are you in?
I'm currently doing the Kabbalah experience. I just had a workshop with Julian.
Great.
Yesterday.
Okay, great. So this is in that work, you will be able to hone, perfect that sense of responsibility, and you're going to have like many opportunities over and over and over again to make those small corrections that you can handle. And you should be very thankful that you had something happen in your life that gave you the sort of punch and insight to see the effect, to know what the good effect of your correct work can be. That's only there to tell you about the other side. It's only there to tell you how effective, how good, and how pervasive your intention and your goodwill towards others will eventually be. Everything, the past does not matter in that sense. It only matters that you learn from it.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you.
Hey, Tony, just sharing a few more locations. I see we're closing in on the first hour already. We have viewers from England, Indianapolis, Wisconsin, Rwanda, Ohio, and Toronto. And the next question is asking about going back to instruction that you mentioned earlier a few times. This is from Maria Shalachi, watching on YouTube. Do you think that a person could be born with the capability to feel the upper world without any instruction?
We all feel a small part of it in the point in the heart. It's a part of the upper world that exists in us and is buried beneath our will to receive. That's the part that eventually takes over the entire heart and becomes the connection between everyone. It's a gene, let's say. So everybody has that, but that's not enough. Yes, you have it. But do you have a clear, tangible sense of what the upper world is? No, we don't have that. Everybody is mistaken about that, and it has to be worked out with other people, because we need the consciousness and of other people that we get through the connection of caring with them. We feel them. They become, we annex them. They annex us, right? We become consumed in the Soviet Union of love and connection. And there our consciousness expands. So everybody has a piece of it, but it has to be expanded consciously and in connection with others. Mary, I'm going to stop the questions there. Let's see if we can do this. Now, we've got a mixture of, many people with many different kinds of connection, different hearts, different perceptions. Doesn't matter. It's obvious that we feel, and it's reflected in the question that we had at the beginning, in what Wendy shared about the desire and the hurt that we feel about this and the concern. Let's use our connection to each other right now. Let's take 3 minutes of dead air time as far as material goes, but of a roaring connection of love between us. Doesn't matter what you think or what you feel or what you cannot feel. Be connected with the others here and all of the people that are watching, and let's hold in our heart the good outcome and the truth of a higher perception and good and wholeness and peace for our friends in Russia and our friends in Ukraine and the whole human family. Let's do that now. Thank you, friends. We're going to be going to the private session, Zoom session, for the KabU students in KR 1, 2. So just stay in the Zoom, and to our friends who joined us on YouTube and Facebook, thanks for being with us, and thank you very much for joining your forces of prayer and intention. To all of us on behalf of the world. You have any announcements, Mary?
I do a few announcements. If you want to join KabU and this amazing community, if you're not already a KabU member, then we invite you to join. You can see the links in the chat, and you'll gain access to several Kabbalah courses from beginners to advanced. You'll join the world's biggest online Kabbalah community, the ability to ask instructors questions in the student forum and in the private session following this one, by the way, and access to a KabU exclusive weekly webinar. Also, you get access to the next Kabbalah Revealed course with Tony starting on March 20th, 2022. If you find our content valuable to you and you'd like to support KabU, you can do that as well. First, you can become a KabU member and get access to all the KabU courses. Participate in a thriving community of like-minded spiritual seekers, video on demand exclusive weekly live events, and much more. Or secondly, you can make a donation. Your donation is much appreciated, and it's definitely put to good use in producing courses, broadcasting live events like this one, and maintaining all of our services. Again, you can find links to the chat for all of those opportunities. So thank you for being together for a very heartfelt, deep connection, and amen to everyone's prayers.
We can feel what we can't understand, that it's all one. The light and the darkness, the sweetness, the sorrow, it's all one. The good and the bad, what's past and tomorrow, and it's all one. What's near and what's far, revealed and concealed in us, all is one.